Welcome to the third MAK podcast where we talk about business, entrepreneurship, and some real estate. Today, the guest I have on is the love of my life. She has taught me everything I knew today and how I've gotten to where I am today. Guys, this is none other than Chelsie Kuhn, also known as my wife.
Hi.
We had a shot of tequila before this just to loosen up Chelsie, and it was much needed. So, Chelsea, this is a conversation. We'll keep it that way. Chelsie doesn't like cameras, but she's getting out of her comfort zone, which is a lot what we talk about on this podcast. So, Chelsie, more or less, tell me a little bit where I know your story, but like, where did you start in life? Where did you grow up? Where did you go to school? Where did you go to college? Just kind of tell us your little bit of background.
All of it.
Tell us anything we need to know. Just start at the beginning. Where did you grow up in? What town? I know you love your town.
Yeah. I grew up in East Grand Forks, Minnesota, so haven't moved too far. I grew up, playing sports. I was into basketball, volleyball, all the things. I didn't really know what I wanted to be when I grew up, so I went to a college to play volleyball for a couple years.
Tell us about that town.
Figure things out. So that town, I went to NDSCS it's Wahpeton, North Dakota.
Wahpeton.
We had to create our own fun. We'll just say that. It was good though. I was preoccupied by volleyball and made a lot of friendships there with my teammates, so it was a good experience. I knew I wanted to go into something business, I just didn't know what. So I came back home, went to UND, lived in Grand Forks, had some roommates, decided to major in marketing just because I like that part of business, I guess. I've always kind of been like a creative person, creative thinker. So I thought that was maybe the best avenue. I really wanted to go into interior design, was like my goal that I wanted to somehow get to. But I did some research as far as getting into interior design school, what that meant. It was like a 2-year program. The way they made it sound was you're basically working in furniture stores for the first 3 years until you can...
In marketing? That's what they tell you?
Interior design.
Or interior design, yes.
Yeah. So I kind of had bigger dreams than working at a furniture store, so I decided not to go that route and to go into something like marketing business so that I could...
So how did that opportunity look different for you?
What do you mean?
So you didn't want to go work at the furniture store or be the marketer for the furniture, or you saw more opportunity
on the business side.
On the business side,
yeah,
okay.
I knew. So growing up, my dad owned a business.
Okay.
And so I did a lot of background stuff for him.
What kind of business was that?
He owned Stone's Mobile Radio.
Okay.
And a lot of people were like, you should just go work for him and, take over that business. That wasn't
Wait a minute. Stone's Mobile Radio. That sounds like ancient.
Mobile radios for farmers.
Like these cell phones out
municipal.
of the 80s? Okay. Cops. CB radios.
Yep.
Got it.
Schools. They had security.
Got it.
I liked being in the business side of that. I didn't like necessarily that type of business, I guess. So
okay.
I knew I wanted to, whatever I was going to end up in, I had to have some passion for. So, but anyways, it was good. I interned there in the summers, during Christmas break. I would go work for them, stuff like that. Actually, my first job ever in high school was I used to mow lawns. I had my own mowing lawn business.
Whoa, so what age are we now? So we're back at the beginning, which is good. I want you to circle back to the beginning.
Yeah, I'm kind of jumping around.
Yeah,
so
no, that's fine.
Was...
Let's talk about the lawn mowing business.
So that was...
Because this seems very creative.
In high school. Yeah. So I played sports, so during the school year, my parents didn't make me get a job or anything. I was busy doing sports. But in the summers, I had more time off. I had to get a job. That's when I would make...
Why did you have to get a job?
Well, I needed some spending money for the year.
All right. So.
And I did.
Just
My
got a
parents
job.
didn't allow me to just sit around all day in the
Okay.
summer.
Okay. I
So-
like that. You want to generate some money.
Yeah, so my brother had been doing had like kind of a lawn mowing business, and then I
Yeah.
kind of took that over for him.
Okay.
So that was kind of my gig in high school, was mowing lawns, and I would send out invoices at the end of each month, and
Wait a minute. So you ran this business? Why didn't I know this?
Mhm.
Why?
this was my first job.
Jeez. See, that's why I just followed her on the way up on the lawn mowing. So wait a minute. So you weren't paid hourly? You were
No,
paid per lawn.
per lawn.
That's
And
like
I liked
the
it.
number one place you can start, lawn.
And I loved it because I could just work my own hours. If you know me, I love to sleep in, and I love my sleep.
Yeah. Well, we all do. I mean,
Yeah.
Who wants to get
so
up in the
I
morning?
could, in the summers, I could sleep in, go do my workouts for, the sports I was in. I could work around that schedule
Sure, yep.
with my lawn mowing.
Got it.
Yeah.
Didn't hinder your other stuff you were
Right.
going to do.
That was more important to me at
That
the
was
time.
more important. You could sleep in, wait till it gets hot, then go do it,
Mm-hmm.
instead of like hit it in the morning.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So tell me more, like, okay, so you went to a 2-year school. Let's circle back around that, because now we're out of high school.
Yeah.
Why did you pick Wapton over like just going straight to the university?
So I didn't know what I wanted to go into. I didn't want to just jump into a program and then have to switch. And at East Grand Forks, you could take a lot of college credits. So I was like well into already freshman year of
Oh
college.
yeah, yep.
So I would have had to pick a program to be in, well into my freshman year.
Yep.
And I had no idea. So, and I still wanted to play volleyball. So it was kind of let me just get all my, my credits done for my freshman and sophomore year, play volleyball. And then I knew, like, at that 2-year mark, I would have to actually figure out
What you wanted?
what
to
I
do.
wanted to do.
So was it a way for you to procrastinate for a couple of years and just play sports?
Kind of.
Okay. Okay. Well, I mean, at least that's admittance, and
Yeah.
that you're past the 90% already.
Well, and
Because then you actually went longer to procrastinate at a 4-year college, but then you kind of knew what you wanted to do as well. So I
Right.
think that,
yeah, some of the credits when I transferred over didn't transfer. So then I did have to take a few more, like freshman credits when I was a
yeah.
junior,
Okay.
which was weird. But at least I had a focus and I knew what my goal was then.
So
after
you
that.
shifted from the end of Wapton to entering University of North Dakota. Did you knew then it was a shift from the interior decorating career to a marketing career?
Yeah.
You knew at that point?
Yeah, because in my sophomore year, when I had to make the decision, what school I wanted to go to next, I did apply to some interior design schools. But the more, like I said, the more research I did on kind of what those first 5 years out of school look like,
Mm-hmm.
and how to get to like actually being successful as an interior designer, it was a really long road. And also, I realized too, I would have to live in probably a bigger city to make that job work. And I was still, like, I've always liked small town living, so I knew I kind of wanted to end up in a small town. So it was just starting to not make a lot of sense to go that route.
Mm-hmm. And so I know you're competitive. I know you went to college. Did you play any sports after Wapton? Or
No.
is that where it ended? Okay.
Mhm.
So you ended sports there. How were you? You were talking about you were making some money in high school. I would imagine at this time, this is 3-4 years later, while you're entering university or kind of exiting, you weren't mowing lawns still? Or did you have that business?
No.
Okay.
Actually, my first few years that when I would come back to live at home during college, it must have been my freshman and sophomore year, I did work for like a lawn mowing company.
Oh, Okay.
Because I enjoyed it. Like, I liked being outside. I liked the physical work of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, myself and one of my best friends, we were the two girls on the lawn mowing crew.
So were you the best workers?
I think we were.
Did you outdo the boys?
We were the ones that had to do the push mowing, and they would sit on the little riders all day, and we would work our asses off push mowing.
Yeah. The asphalt. You got to run the weed whackers and stuff like that, and do all like the hard work.
The hard stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. That's funny. I actually see that a lot today.
Yeah, they would make us girls do that.
So how else did you generate revenue then in college? Like, how did you get by?
So then I became a waitress.
Oh. And so that's, again, you're working on tips. You were never really working the hourly job.
No, not right away. I was a waitress at a restaurant in North Dakota, which they can't pay you full, like, minimum wage because they count your tips. So you end up making like $2 or $3 an hour.
Oh.
Is your paycheck, and then what you're actually taking home is your tips.
Wow. So how much?
So my paychecks would be like $50.
And this is 2 weeks of work.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But then
it's not enough.
But you'd be making cash tips.
Okay.
So I did that 1 year, and then I went over and worked at a restaurant in East Grand Forks, which is Minnesota, and they pay you full minimum wage plus tips.
Wow. So what does that look like compared?
So
how much
then
were you getting paid an hour?
Like at that time it was somewhere around like $7 or $8 an hour.
It's almost like triple. just just so you know where we're at, it's literally on the border of North Dakota and Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yep. So
like everyone's goal as a waitress or waiter or bartender was to work in Minnesota, but there was only so many restaurants.
Gotcha.
And so I finally got into like the good restaurant in Minnesota so I could make more an hour. Wow. But I did. I mean, I would leave, a night I would make $120 in tips easy, and that's just working, 4 or 5 hours probably.
Well, the harder you work, the longer, I'm sure you're making more money.
Yeah.
You're not necessarily an hourly employee, you're more or less a commission or harder you work, the more you make type thing, which is I think an awesome job to learn from, because you kind of drive your own destiny. What your paycheck's going to be.
Yeah. I almost think everyone should work in like the restaurant biz at some point in their life. Like that customer service, just how you treat people, how other people treat you.
Yes.
I see everything so much differently after working in the restaurant.
That is, I think anyone in college should be a server. Mm-hmm. Probably good money for the amount of time you put in. You learn the service industry. You know how to really.
You have to treat people differently. Yep. So,
good day, bad day, doesn't matter what days Chelsea's having.
Yeah.
You gotta be always happy.
Always happy, always accommodating. Industry. Doesn't matter how they're treating you. I remember one time there was a table. It was a big group, and there was this older gentleman, and he kept asking me over and over again for the same things. Like, he would ask me for, like, iced tea, and I would bring him his iced tea. And then I'd come back, and he would ask me for it again. But then he would get mad.
The iced tea?
Yes. And I was like, I brought that to you already. And then he would ask for stew. And then he would get mad at me for, like, bringing him the wrong thing. And finally his son pulled me aside, and he said, you have to, like, be very patient with him because he has Alzheimer's and he doesn't remember, like, what he ordered, what happened 5 minutes ago.
But you always knew because he's always there.
But I didn't know that right away. I thought this old guy was just being a jerk.
Wow.
So then it was like, oh, okay, I had to just go up to him with a smile every time, even though he was yelling at me, basically, for not doing the right thing.
So how hard was that? Like, what did you learn out of that?
Well, you just have to treat each person differently in different circumstances. And you kind of have to just, like, swallow and just move on and, like, don't, you can't take everything like someone's coming at you. You just put a smile on your face. And
I think that really helps, like, some people in business. Like, different people are managed in different ways. You serve people, and sometimes you just have to bite your tongue in business.
Right.
The customer's always right.
Exactly.
No matter what. I think in the service industry, it's that times 5.
Yeah.
So that is like a key thing in business. Like the customer is always right, and if you can just provide them enough value, they love you to death, and they'll always be back. So
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. So what was your family like? Let's just talk about overall, as you grew up, because we both have very different paths. Most people here know my story. They don't know your story.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of family household did you grow up in? What would you name it? How would you feel it? I usually use a term called Pleasantville.
Yeah.
Because mine was very dysfunctionalville, and.
I didn't realize mine was Pleasantville until you started telling me that. But I would say my life growing up was just very normal, nothing out of the ordinary. I mean, it was just myself and my older brother. We weren't rich, we weren't poor, we were just very medium. Everything was very medium, normal.
Yeah.
We went on family trips when we could. We did a lot of camping in the summer. Both my parents worked 8 to 5 jobs, and that's growing up. It was we were taught go to school, get a good job. That's what you do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Save up for retirement, that type of thing.
Yeah. So go to school, get a job, lots of education.
Must
work your way to the climb.
Must
climb
go
the
to
ladder.
college. Must graduate from college to be successful. That's kind of what I was taught. I mean, my parents are always supportive in anything that I do, but I would say it was very just normal Pleasantville. There was nothing extravagant that we did. Nothing.
Yeah. Well, us in the lowers class, we call you the Joneses. That's when I grew up in a trailer park, for those who don't know, but it's we were just in a lower class mentality. Dad was in construction, mom was unemployed or had a full-time job somewhere doing, lower class type work, but, we always had a lot of dysfunctions, always a lot of, not stability. It sounded like you're the people in the lower class sometimes they don't have stability.
Yeah.
And then people in the middle class usually have really good stability.
Oh, yeah.
But you follow, we have a theme on follow the herd. You just kind of follow the path as it should be to most people. And it's probably the most comfortable path. Yeah. Because you had to I think you were talking about moving to the big city as an interior decorator. You need to be in LA or wherever and doing these incredible things. That wasn't comfortable. I think you liked the small town.
Yeah.
And so that kind of could put it. You could be an interior decorator in HGTV and we wouldn't have this conversation today. But here we are.
Yeah.
You kept in the common path. So
yeah.
I think it's all education and so you had a very, very medium household, your parents are phenomenal people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I look up to them, they're incredible. So
yeah.
Let's move the venture here into how did you meet me? What led you into ladies' night on Sledsters of I'm not sure what day. It also seemed to sync up with my softball day.
Yeah.
So I'm sharing a little bit of the story, but let's tell the story from Chelsea's perspective.
Oh.
And we do have a little tequila in us, so we might be very open.
Yes, it was ladies' night and softball night. I think it was a Thursday night, maybe. And
for sure, Thursday night. Softball night.
I had just graduated from college, and I think you were still in college. I was out with my friends, and you were out after a softball game. And yes, we were at Sledsters. I was just there to have a couple drinks with my friends. I had to work the next morning, so it wasn't anything crazy. And here is Marc and his softball team at the bar. I think you guys are playing pool. I don't know.
Pretty much being awesome.
Yeah.
As we like to thought in college.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So here I am with a couple of my girlfriends sitting at a table, and I think you come up and I think your words were, "Is this seat taken?" And you just plop yourself down. before we could even say, like, yeah, that seat's taken.
Was that my pickup line?
I think it was.
I don't remember even.
Yeah,
it's
I
not
think
even
it
clear
was.
to me.
And then you just start talking. I think you had quite a few drinks in you by that point. I, to be honest, had like zero to no interest in you because you weren't like my type, like how you were dressed and stuff. It was just the skater shoes, the earrings, like dirty softball player. It was like
kind of smelled like beer.
Yeah, you kind of smelled funny. But you were very friendly. You were very like open. You were telling us like your whole life story, and I remember looking at my friend like, that's weird. He's sharing all this stuff with us right now.
Just wanted to get to know you guys, you know. I think you were with a couple friends.
Yeah, and then I think some of your friends ended up leaving, going to another bar. So then you were kind of stuck with us. So then you asked if you could just like hang out with us, follow us to the next bar. I know you like to say like that didn't happen, but I'm pretty sure that happened.
I thought the story went like, here, Mark, you should come with us.
No,
I thought I remember.
No,
that.
Your friends left you, and then you were like, "Oh, can I hang out with you guys?"
Well, because I didn't have any friends.
They left you. Yeah.
I needed a friend.
So you followed us to the next few bars, and I don't know. I think we exchanged numbers, and at that point, I was still like kind of weirded out by your skater shoes.
I mean, I was pretty good looking back in the day. I had earrings.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. Earrings.
Yeah.
Still got the holes. My girls can get them in there still today. So.
Yeah. But after that night, you kept texting me and calling me, asking me out on a date. And at first, I think I declined quite a few times. And then you were very persistent, and you kept asking. And my roommate, I was talking to her, and she said, just go. Like, what's it going to hurt? You get a free meal out of it. So I finally agreed.
A free meal out of it? I love that. And we're in college, so, like, why not?
So I agreed to a date, and then you picked me up in your white, shiny truck, and your hair was all gelled, and you looked all nice, and you were so nervous.
Did I have skater shoes on?
I don't know if you had your skater shoes on that
Probably
night.
Crocs, something more classy.
Yeah. I think you had flip-flops on because it was summer.
Oh, it's more classy.
Yeah. And, yeah, we actually hit it off then that night. So I like to say it was like love at second sight. Like the first night, I was not impressed.
Yeah, I think you're getting more honest now. You know, I saw a challenge in front of me is basically when I saw you with blurry vision.
Yeah.
And
is that how you see it?
Yeah, but I remember myself a lot better looking, you know, in my own
You were
perspective.
cute. Like I didn't say anything about that. It was just like what you're wearing, and
I could probably, you know, it's after softball.
you were talking a lot that first night, and I was kind of annoyed. Like,
yeah.
Man, he talks a lot.
Yeah, I don't find myself as a talker, but apparently I land in a social type atmosphere. I like to talk. Okay, yeah. So what changed your mind? Because I remember texting you, and I don't know that it was like a lot, but maybe you'll say it a lot. It was like you just didn't respond. So then I was like, all right, well, hey, she might be out of my league. It's fine. It's like, but I have some grit to me, and I like to what you can't
you
have.
You were persistent.
And I'd say most people call me persistent today.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I kind of stayed after it.
Yeah.
And then tried not to screw it up the second time. That's the way I'd have viewed it. But yeah, you really didn't answer my calls or any of my text messages, so
yeah,
I just stayed after it. It's kind of like a real estate deal. You just kind of got to keep chasing it if you want it.
Yeah.
And but okay, well, so we met.
We did.
You finally are like, he's the one, he's the dream, he's my prince come true. I know all the things that went through your head.
Yeah.
Probably none of those, but what happened then? Just walk us kind of through how we met, and then.
I don't know. I think after that first date, we just connected, and I don't know. I don't think there was many days that we spent apart or didn't see each other after that.
Yeah, I would say that's true.
You know, I think at one point I went to your lake and met your family and thought, what the hell is happening?
Now, coming from very normal,
Pleasantville.
bringing it into the Disruptville and Dysfunctionalville.
It was my eyes were like, holy, okay, I didn't know that there was like families like yours out there. I mean, I knew there was, but I'd never like been in that like dysfunction.
Yeah. Well, you know, like we have supper and then there's just trays you pull up next to your lazy boy.
Yeah,
and you just
we
eat at the
couldn't do
dinner
that.
table and you just kind of like figure out, cut your steak right
Yeah.
there while watching your like favorite episode of like Simpsons or whatever.
Yeah.
That's like how we live life. That was great. It was great. We loved it.
Yeah. So that was very like eye opener for me. But I don't know, I always seen like you had a very big heart and you still cared about your family. You cared about every single person that you talked to, that you met. So I could see past some of the maybe things that people would maybe run from. I could see past that, and I knew I could see too, like you were very like determined. You're a hard worker right away. I could see that in, you know, you were so proud that you did construction and you worked for your dad and like you were able to pay for your truck and you paid for all this. And I was like, wow, like I don't pay for anything. I pay for rent.
Pay for rent. Yep. So a lot of different lifestyles.
Yep. So I really liked that about you too. And yeah, I was able to look past just kind of all that other stuff that I didn't know even existed in the world.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think we were engaged within like 9 months of meeting each other.
Yeah.
10 months.
I'd say that's true.
Yeah. So we were young, but I don't know. I think we both kind of knew where we wanted to go in life, and
yeah, I'd agree. Mm-hmm. All right, so we are 9 months into meeting each other. What did you learn in 9 months since we hit it off? What did you learn from where you were at Normalville to kind of like how my mentality is? Like I was paying for my own things and we were very different.
Yeah.
So what did you learn?
Oh man.
Like, I know like I think when I met you didn't even know what like car insurance. Like I think you knew about it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't really a thing, or like licensing a car or like anything to do with a car.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah,
I wouldn't say I was like sheltered, but I was very much like taken care of.
So sheltered.
Sort of. But I didn't know any different. Like you would always say, like, oh my gosh, you don't even know how to do this. Like no one ever taught me that. So
you weren't exposed.
No. So it wasn't my fault. Like I didn't know. I mean, yeah, there was things that I had to pay for and like I worked for, and if I wanted that, I had to pay for it. But some of like things you just needed, my parents did help me out with that. So seeing how you lived your life, it was very like if you wanted it, you had to figure out a way to get it. And I liked that about you. I feel like I think the reason why you and I work so well is because like we complement each other like that. Mm-hmm. But as far as what I learned, I don't know. I mean, there was just so many things.
Well, I think like you were talking about it. I mean, basically you learned how to basically. I think your parents should thank me. In the first year, probably really got them off their checking account and got you into your own checking account. Probably?
Yeah. You were very like. Well, if you wanted to have something or you wanted to do something, you just go do it, go get it. And to me, it was like, that's scary. Like, I don't want to do that, I liked being in my comfort zone. You definitely like not being in your comfort zone. And so now, like, looking back, I mean, I'm definitely glad, like, we've, for us, even like buying our first house, it was like that was very much like not in my plan to do that at a young age. Like, no, I do not want to be responsible for this. Like, I think too, it's like the responsibility thing. Like, I don't want to have to be responsible for some of this stuff.
Yeah, which is most people today. That's why we're renters.
Right. And, but you know, there was no one holding your hand, no one, you know, guiding you. You're guiding yourself, and you know, so that was it was very different for me. But, you made me feel safe though doing it. Like if you said like, no, we can buy a house and it'll be, you know, we just have to come up with this amount of money and if we each make this, it was like you had a thought process to how to get there, and that made me comfortable.
Yeah, wait on that very second. Because I know because Chelsie was kind of my sugar mama when I met her.
I was.
She had a full-time job and she had money in her savings. Mm-hmm. So here, Marc's mind goes, has zero money.
Yeah, I was the breadwinner.
No full-time job. I worked for my dad when we met. And so I think at that point, too, I actually butt heads with my dad, and I actually got a W-2 job testing for a company while we met, and I was going to college, and you were working full-time. Yeah. But I don't remember the certain amount you had in your checking. I think it was like $4 or $5 grand. I'm like, holy crap.
In my savings?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like trying to build it up, and I think I had close to like $5 or $6 grand on my savings.
Yep. And then you owned a car. I believe that it was paid for through your parents. So bless their soul, I still own them today. But we traded that car. We leased a car, pulled out the cash out of that car to really get into this house. Is that, I think, how we ended up? Because then I told you, I said, this is an 08, 09, like real estate was dead. Even in North Dakota, it was quiet. But the government came out with a $7,000. $8,000.
First time home buyer.
Yes.
Incentive.
So we got a house that we felt at a really good price. It wasn't old, because Chelsie doesn't like old. She likes to be taken care of. And I think we traded that car. I don't know if it all happened at that same time.
Yeah. Yes, it happened all at the same time. We got engaged. We traded my car in.
To generate revenue.
Yeah.
Leased a brand new car.
And we bought a house all at the same time. And I'm pretty sure my parents were about to have a heart attack. Like, they were not ready for all this.
A nice Catholic girl should be married.
Yeah.
Kind of.
So, but then when we bought the house, it was what kind of like pushed us into doing it was the first time homebuyer incentive, because it was ending. And so if you qualified for this, they literally send you an $8,000 check. Yeah. And it's just in your checking. So so I think since we weren't married, like you got $4 grand, I got $4 grand.
Yeah. Yep.
And then we used some of my savings for the down payment.
Yeah. I think we still had, like, we actually had more money after we bought the house.
Yeah.
Because we planned it right.
Right. And we knew, like, with the money we'd be getting back, we'd have no issues with, like, the first few payments.
Yep. Yeah. And, because I remember, maybe you remember vaguely, but I think we closed on the house, moved in, and then got fired from my job.
Yep.
And I called you. I was nervous to call you, but I was also not nervous for some reason.
Well,
I can't remember what went through your head when I called you.
I don't think you got fired. I think you quit trying to get fired or something.
Yeah, probably. I would say that's fair.
So, at that point, it was really close to when we were doing all this other things. Getting engaged, buying the house, new car, payment. And then you were still going to school, driving to NDSU for a construction management degree.
Yeah, construction management.
I was working my little 8-to-5 marketing job that wasn't making a ton of money, but and then you called me and you said there was swear words involved, but you basically said, I'm done there. I'm not working there anymore. And then I think at that point you decided you're not going to school anymore either.
Yes. I made a drastic decision.
And it was like all in one phone call, and I was in the basement of my workplace, and I said, no, like, tell them you want the job back. Like, you can't do that. we can't live off my little, I think I was making like $12 or $13 an hour.
Yeah, it wasn't much.
I said, I can't carry us with this job and a new house, you know. And you just said, no, I'll figure it out. I'm going to figure it out. I got some, you know, I'll pour some concrete for some people. I'll figure it out.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, at that point I thought, okay, I don't know. Like, this is a turning point for me. Like, I can either stay with this guy or...
Oh, yeah, we're not married yet either.
No. I could either stay with this guy or I can get out of this because this is crazy.
So...
Yeah.
From there, what happened after that? From your perspective.
So...
We got the house. I'm fired from my job. I'm home.
Yeah. You're home, and I think you just, like, picked up a few jobs here and there that first summer.
I made some calls. I installed a fart fan, job number 1.
Yeah, I mean, it was so many just
called your dad,
jobs.
he had some employees.
Yeah. And then...
Just started, had zero money coming in. You just start getting after it. There was no plan.
And you had also, like, cut off from your dad. Like, you weren't going back to work for him. Like, that was the end. So it was like you couldn't go back to work for him either.
Yeah.
So you were kind of, it was like do or die. Like, you just had to figure it out. And I think you just kept picking up a few jobs here and there. And then we decided, okay, if you're going to keep doing this, like, we got to, like, what's your company name? Like, what's your construction name going to be? So then, me being the marketer, I was like, we have to have a logo, and we have to have letterhead, and we have to, our invoices all have to look the same, and...
Yeah. Marc does not go for perfect, by the way.
No.
I was just all action, 99 action, 1% planning.
Yeah.
Then Chelsie comes in with the planning.
Yeah. I'm like, well...
That's why we link up so well together.
If we're going to put a logo on something, it's got to look pretty, it's got to look cute, everything has to look the same. And so I think that's kind of where I helped you in the beginning, was with making you look professional instead of just, like, going out there and...
Because you love doing that.
I
love
love doing
that. Part
yeah.
I just, like, why? It's a waste of time.
Yeah.
There's no need to do any of this. Just go.
Yep. Yeah. And so we just got by, I think, that first year. And then the second year is when I think an employee at my dad's company had you do, like, a whole house remodel or something. So you were able to, like, plant yourself at his house for a whole summer.
Yep.
And it was like, okay, well, you know, we'll get by again. It was kind of like the first few years, like, praying that we could just get by, basically.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
And we didn't know, like, you would hire an employee, and it was like, can you pay an employee? Like, this is crazy. We can't afford an employee.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you got out of that summer, and then we decided to do the home show.
Yeah.
And that's where
right.
And at that point, we had already, like, I think we had, like, a website. I mean, we had all, like, the marketing tools in place. We had started using maybe QuickBooks or something, because at the beginning it was just, like, spreadsheets and file folders. And
that's all you need.
Yeah. So then that next spring we did the home show, which is just a big, like, exhibit, I guess, for companies to display what they do and products and services. And you ended up just killing it. Like,
that's probably my first big move.
Yeah, that was the best thing that I think. If we didn't do that, I don't think you would have been operating that summer.
Yeah.
I think you got the majority of your jobs from that.
Yeah, and that's really how we started. I mean, I'd say after that home show, we had a whole summer's worth of bids to do, and we got some jobs. Chelsie was from the service industry, so we tried to, like, outdo what others were doing in the space, which in construction is usually very minimal. So we were on, like, Google SketchUp, and I was drawing patios at night, drawing up best. So I was over-exceeding customer expectations with what they would get. With Chelsea's help, and that's really, like, she drove the brand and the marketing, so they started seeing this more.
It was consistent.
And then, like, I didn't realize how big marketing was till it's like, all right, people resemble the plan. That's the concrete guy, the stamp concrete guy, the remodel guy. So that was super important, I think. that you branded it right, and I thought it was kind of a waste of time.
Yeah, you did. I would make like posters and stuff and put your logo all over it. And but that first home show, I do remember all you really knew was concrete and some like miscellaneous like handyman stuff. But you decided you're gonna market stamped concrete. You remember this?
Mm-hmm.
And like you had never done stamped concrete.
Yeah.
And I was like, why would you market that? Like you don't even know how to do that. And your whole thing was, well, no one else does it here.
Find your niche.
Yeah.
Because if you can niche down, you can make the money.
And we all of a sudden were like the stamped concrete like company.
And I knew nothing about
nothing
stamped
about
concrete.
no.
YouTube videos and some educational content, and I was the expert.
Yeah.
Marketed as the expert, right? So don't have to be the expert. Just know the niche, know where your passion kind of lies. Yeah. So what would you tell someone like the listener to this would be someone trying to start a business
mm-hmm.
or trying to get into something in business? Like you can see how our journey went. You've probably heard of other journeys. Like what in your perspective, like if someone was starting out today, like they made the decision tomorrow to quit
mm-hmm.
the job and they're going out on their own. What's step one?
Starting. Like just, and don't look back, I would say. Mm-hmm. Like if you had something to fall back on, you probably wouldn't have pushed as hard as you did at the beginning.
Absolutely.
So I would say just start. And when you start, like full throttle, put 100% into it from the beginning.
Do you got to have a plan, or where are you?
I mean,
where do you spend
in
all
our
your
experience,
efforts?
We didn't have a plan. We just figured it out and made it work. I mean, eventually we kind of had to niche and see, figure out what space we wanted to be in. But I would say find what you're good at too. Like it has to be some of that too.
Mm-hmm.
You were really good. You've always been good at like talking to people, and you were really good on like the sales side. You would explain jobs through from start to finish. And like, I think you have to be really good at connecting with people too, if
mm-hmm.
you're going to start something.
Exceed their expectations. I think
Yeah.
that was always like my thing going into a conversation. It was very simple. It's just like, how do I be better than Joe Schmo next to me contracting, right?
Yeah.
And the space is not filled with a bunch of guys like me. I knew I could sell and present myself better,
right,
and show that. So I did have that skill going for me. I think it all starts with sales, but it starts with a lot of action. I mean,
right.
If you're not going to go, don't worry about the marketing, don't worry about the website. Use social media, use the platforms that are given to you organically. We shot the podcast number 2, kind of telling people how to market themselves. We're doing this podcast with iPhones and all sorts of stuff behind us. It's not perfect. It's not what I envisioned to be what I wanted to do.
It's not going to be perfect at the beginning. You just have to go for it, I think. And you give the customer something that they don't already have. Give them, add some value, I guess, to whatever you're presenting, or value to their day, or
well, that's
there's
what we're
got to
trying
be
to do
that
here.
aspect.
What we're trying to do is provide new business owners value here on how to start. Start with action. Set a goal. Like I did have a goal after a little while. Like right away, it was just yes to everything. But then I started figuring out we're not making much on bathroom models. That's a no.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't know how to stamp concrete, but there's a niche there. There's demand for it. Boom, we're the stamped concrete experts. I generate a lot of revenue because stamped concrete. Today, I say no on that. You you have to adapt and learn to say no. All right, Chelsea, so you are living with an entrepreneur now. We fast forward from the beginning and how you start. Now we're on year 13 of this company we're talking about, MAK Construction, and now the MAK companies. But let's just talk about like the background of like living with a person like me,
mm-hmm.
who's, we talked a lot about the 9 months, what you learned. What have you learned, and how do you handle an entrepreneur living beside you for 13 years? Kind of speed up to the. So what's the challenges of me?
There's many. This could go on for a while.
Yeah. Well,
nothing.
Tell the viewers how it is. That's really what they want to know.
Nothing is ever like good enough for you. Like there's always the next thing and the next thing, and we need to be on the next level and next, and it's just constant. And that's, for me, can sit back and, again, just comfortable. And you're not. It's like you don't like being comfortable. So
I've made myself so uncomfortable for so long. I like that area, and I like the way
it's
it
like
makes me feel.
you're almost uncomfortable being comfortable. Like you feel when there's like steady pace, it's like you don't like that. So that's very hard. That's a challenge because and then having kids involved, it's like I want to have a steady pace and, comfortable environment for them, where it's always, we got to figure out what the next thing is. But it is always exciting, I guess. We do things and go to places that I would never have done that on my own. So that's probably a good thing.
And you like to go places.
I do.
So she likes to get out of her comfort zone of home, but yet she would rather be... I'd like to do the uncomfortable stuff. That's just where I come from. Like, I like improving myself. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, live in that constant world of, there's always a new level, and I'm always curious what that new level is like, and that's really my core purpose. Like, that's why it drives me.
Yeah, and it's just always the, like, what's next, like, we can never just be good. Like, for me, like, I could probably drive the same car for, like, 15 years. And you like to, like, switch my car out every, like, 3 years. And it's things like that on the daily. Just when I think, like, okay, we're, good here, we're comfortable here, well, then we got to change something. And on the business side, so then we're working together too, and it's like constantly changing. And then I've always been kind of the support for you and whatever your visions are. So then, when your visions go from here to over here, then I have to try and navigate over there. So it's always trying to like catch up to you, always.
Yeah,
and you don't always like understand, like it takes a little bit longer for other people to get to where you're at.
I'm definitely a visionary who lives in the gap. I'm reading the book, The Gap and the Gain. And I always kind of move the bar before I even get to it.
Yeah.
I still level up, but I keep raising the bar quicker. And then you guys are right behind me trying to catch up in operations. You're a detail-oriented person. I'd say you're my first like real operator or like detail-oriented person trying to keep up with my vision. But I'm just after constant improvement and constant, I adapt or die type mentality, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think you're the first operator. I mean, you're the only reason that we're here today and have the brand that we do today, and we are the people who we do today, but, tell them, okay, so we've had this company for 13 years. Mm-hmm. We've built not only like a little mini company empire, but we've also built some kids, and, tell us about all our kids, because I think they're all unique in their own way. Mm-hmm. And you're very passionate about our kids and being around them, being mom, like that's one of your big deals. So maybe we're not just business here. It's not like the kids are just like being watched by a nanny all day and we abandon ship on them. But Chelsea's super involved with our kids and kind of explain the age of each one, maybe start out with the oldest and work our way through here.
So we have, our oldest is Stella. She's 9. She's in 3rd grade. She is very much resembles you. I feel like if she's either one of us, leans more towards you in that she has
an 8-pack like me.
She does have an 8-pack. This girl's a beast, by the way. And when she said Stella, she meant like Stella. Yeah, like, that is her mentality. That's so Stella. She's in a room like. She is the messiest person. It just pisses me off. But She's also like has the biggest heart, kind of like you. Like she cares about everyone. But she is so like motivated if she's into something. Like I've never seen a kid like that. Like if she wants like this cheer thing, like she wanted to be on this team, you know, she wants to be the best tumbler, and like she is working on it.
Yeah.
Day and night. I mean, she's so motivated.
Explain to me this cheer quick, like.
So
because like cheer to me, like from an outside viewer, I don't know what cheer is.
Right. So
how would they envision this?
Well, kind of like the movie Bring It On, sort of. Like they do these cheer competitions. And so it's like they have a team, but they go to these competitions and it's dancing and tumbling and stunting. So you're like throwing a girl up in the air, that type of stuff. So you're kind of like incorporating gymnastics and dance, and you're doing it at these competitions.
All right. So tell us about the middle child.
The middle child, Lola.
Yeah.
She is...
The long lost, forgotten Lola.
No, she's not forgotten.
No.
She's 7 in 2nd grade. I would say Lola's more like me. She's very organized, particular. We always joke about her OCD because everything has to be like in order, lined up. Like she has to go through the same motions every morning to get out the door. Otherwise, she's crying. But she's very, how do I explain her?
Competitive?
She's very competitive, yes. Yes.
Chelsie 2.0?
Yes. So, like, the girls will get their report cards, and instead of, like, how did I do? It's, well, did I do better than Stella? You know, that's how she is.
I love that girl. Clean,
She's
organized.
Very clean. I mean, her room is, like, to a T at all moments, and if one thing is moved, she knows it's moved. She's competitive, so she likes basketball, volleyball. When she's on that basketball court, it's like I would not want to be the girl that she's guarding because she is on her.
Yeah, she absolutely devours.
Yeah, but she's a good friend. She's good about making a lot of friends, and so she's not a forgotten one. She's actually like my little mama too, so she takes care of Knox, who is our youngest.
Yeah. We got Noxie too. Yeah, so he is 2.5 now. And he's a good combination of both of them, I think. Mm-hmm. He's the youngest and a boy, so like he pretty much gets like all the attention right now. Anything he wants, he gets. He's 3rd child, and so... Lola is like you that caters to his every little need. Yeah. Like, you're very much a service-type person, and... Yeah. She is spoiled with her. Yeah, he knows, like, I'm going to ask Mom for something. Mom's going to say no. Well, then I'm going to go to Lola. She's going to give me whatever I want. But, yeah, he's just fun. He's talking so much now and running around, and... he's just such a boy. His favorite thing is monster trucks, and he's fun. Yeah, monster trucks! Like, the kid just lives and breathes monster trucks. Okay, let's shift into like how do we as a couple then, we run lots of businesses, lots of employees, hard to take care of everyone, but it's all comes around to what we set as goals, you and I, annually. Kind of explain how we set some goals together, because again, it brings you out of your comfort zone, and I know you don't like. It's not easy to do that, but we. Yeah. What's your view on that, I guess, and how do we, what do the goals really do for us? Why is it important to do it? We didn't always do the goal thing. No. We just kind of ran free sometimes, and it didn't work out. So I would say when we started setting goals, it just got everyone on the same page, I think. Yeah. And it made us just have those conversations that, okay, at the end of the year, like, what's the best case scenario? Like, what do we actually want to see? And it put us all on the same page, not only just for us, but for the family, for kids. Yeah. And then we talk about it with them. So I think last year our goal, if they hit
I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was the end goal was we got to go to Disney World.
Oh, yeah.
And that was like in the back of their mind all the time.
Yep.
So I think it gives each person something to achieve. Like you always looking into the future instead of like, I'm very much just want to be present.
Yeah.
I don't like setting goals necessarily because, again, it
brings you out of the comfort.
It's uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you responsible for something.
Yep. Yeah. No one wants to be accountable.
No.
That's a key thing.
But at the end of the day, it is, I would say, the best thing that we could do.
Yeah.
So it is helpful.
Right. I love, and it gives you accountability. I don't care if you don't have a spouse or whatever you have, a girlfriend, a grandma, tell them your goals. It's amazing when you tell someone else your goals and where you want to go. Mm-hmm. I just do it with Chelsie and I, but I tell others. It's amazing how much more often you would accomplish those goals. It keeps you accountability inside. If I post my goals online, there's other people cheering me on. Marc, do this. Marc, do that. Because you need that support because not every day is easy. And it's uncomfortable, for sure, because you don't want to fail on your goals. Now, you may fail at them, but you will give your best effort. Like, that's to me, like, I know it's uncomfortable for you. That's why we do it together. But she knows where I want to go, and I know what she wants out of this, right? So.
Yeah, and it helps, like, having, him being the visionary, and, he'll say stuff like, well, I want to grow the company to this, or I want to add this, and I wouldn't have known that unless we talked about those goals too.
Absolutely.
He would have just like came up with it, and then I would have been blindsided.
Yeah.
But I think it helps with the kids too. I mean, we're kind of giving them like little goals with the chore sheets.
Yep.
They have a goal. If they can get all their stickers in that day, they get a bonus. And then at the week, if they get all their stickers, and they get paid, their allowance. So giving them little goals, I think is easier for them.
Yeah, you got to track. You got to set a goal, a year goal, but you got to track them in 52 weeks.
Yeah.
You can't just track it at the end of the year because you're never going to hit the goal then.
Yeah.
You need to baby step it. How do I what's the path to get there? So explain that, a little bit with our kids. Why do we pay them for allowance? Because many parents view that differently. Well, I'm not going to pay for my kids for allowance. They just have to do the chores. Okay, well, that's your view. But we want our kids to value money. We talk to them all the time about money. Our goal with the chore chart, my goal was to say, all right, I'll pay you, because we weren't getting chores done. We're nagging on them, and it was just like, my gosh, girls, can we just get this done? And then instead we made this chore chart, and each time they get a sticker, they get a quarter, and if they get them all, they get a $1 bonus.
A quarter for each sticker.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so now we make them pay for everything. So them paying for everything makes us as parents not pay for everything. So now they're realizing, like, what is some other girls you were telling me? You go to the mall with them. They spend their allowance money.
Lola, she makes sure she gets all her chores done every week, and she wants that $1 bonus. Well, some weeks she ends up with like $17, $18.
Yeah.
And so she asked, Mom, can you take me to Claire's? I said, okay. Did you want to spend some of your allowance money? Yeah. Okay. So I brought both of them to Claire's, and I said, bring your wallets, because I'm not paying for anything. This is your money to spend. So, they start looking at the prices of things now. As before, it was like, Mom, I want this. Why can't I have this? And they had like 10 things in their cart. And now they're, asking, how much does this cost? Well, what, and Lola wanted these sunglasses, and they were $20.
Oh, wow.
And she said, well, these are not worth $20. I said, yeah, they're kind of expensive for cheap sunglasses. Well, she wanted me to pay for them. I said, I'm not paying for anything. This is your allowance money. And she said, okay, I guess I don't need them that bad. And, she'll put them back. And Stella, who used to be, she's like a hoarder kind of. She just like loves things.
Oh, gosh, that girl.
She would have had 20 things in her basket asking me to pay for all of them. And now, she knows she has to spend her money. And she's realizing, this crap is not worth it.
The value is junk.
Yeah. And so they're very, like, careful about spending their money now. Like, it's got to be on things that they need or things that they really, really want, or they're like comparing, like Lola loves fake nails.
Yeah.
So she knows, like, well, I can get, the same set of fake nails at this store for like $2.
Yep.
Well, this one they have them for $6, so I'm not gonna,
maximize the value.
Yeah. So, and they do their chores because they want that money at the end of the week.
Yeah.
And so it's like you have to give them some incentive to get their chores done, and they have to do them good, otherwise they won't get the sticker.
How was that different than a year ago if you just took them to Claire's or some of these?
Oh, I mean, they would just expect me to, pay for everything, and then there would be a fight about what they can have and can't have, and then it would be a fight about how many things she got versus she got.
Yeah.
It was always a fight. But now, and they always ask to go to Starbucks.
Oh, yeah.
And they want
Cheers,
these like $5 drinks. And now, if they want Starbucks, they have to pay for it with their own money. And now they're starting to realize, like, maybe Starbucks is kind of expensive.
Yeah,
like,
McDonald's coffee's like starting to look really good.
Like, maybe we don't need to go to Starbucks all the time. So it's just getting them thinking like they're in the real world. Like, we don't want to push them into the real world and not, give them these experiences. Like, we can at least talk to them about these things now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's been good. Yeah. Before, we would have them do chores. There wasn't anything tied to it. No. They just were, expected to do them.
Yeah.
And they weren't doing them, and they were doing them poorly. It didn't work out. So
I hope that speaks to all you mothers out there, because it's like, it is reverse psychology, but our girls were motivated with money. And if I can pay them $18 to $20 a week and then they have to buy all their own stuff, it actually turns out to be significantly cheaper on us.
It does.
And those kids are very much happier today because they get to buy what they want. So,
and that they're buying things that they actually want because they have to spend their money on it. It's not just like junk because they think it is fun or something.
Yeah, they got to maximize their dollar. It's so important. So they're learning a lot of things that other kids are not right now. So if you want that, comment below. We have a chore chart that I will share with you, and it's worked miraculously for us.
Yeah, and they can get their chores done at the end of the night. I mean, I would say they work hard for an hour, or they can.
Oh, a tear comes to my eye every time Stella's washing dishes and vacuuming the kitchen floor, because that girl's such a mess.
Yeah.
And she loves it. She gets her little paycheck at the end of every Sunday. You got to pay the kids. Every Sunday's payday. So it's so important. But let's move into. And this might be a little deep for you, but I just want to know. Okay, we're gonna wrap up. What is your envision of yourself? What's a version of yourself you want to see in 5 years? Where do you want to see yourself in 5 years from now? I know that's putting you on your spot, but this is supposed to be for that. I'm very uncomfortable for her because she doesn't like to make goals. What's your envisionment of Chelsie in 5 years? You're going to be like, I don't know, 27?
You're really putting me on the spot.
I know.
I'm going to be 27. Yeah, right. See, my mind automatically goes to, like, momhood and my kids, because I start thinking, like, okay, what are the age going to be with my kids? Where are we going to be at with them? Because I always put myself in that situation first. Mm-hmm. So with our kids being a little bit older, I see us doing more with their activities and stuff, but then also we'll have more time, I guess, in the work week versus how we do now with, daycare and all that stuff. So in 5 years, I mean, literally 2 years ago, I would have never said I am running a property management company, because I would never, ever want to do that. Mm-hmm. But here I am, and now it's actually running smoothly, and I feel like it's taken us 2 years to kind of get where we're at. I would definitely say I hope that we own more properties that we are managing and running. I like that. In 5 years, I would love to expand ourselves into other regions. Like, I would love to have other properties in other states.
With sun.
That's warm, maybe.
Chelsea's always vision is sun and warm.
Just get me to the warm.
She's like an iguana.
Just put me on the beach. I would say that is a goal of mine and ours is to maybe eventually have some properties elsewhere like that.
Okay.
I would love to get our kids more involved too. Like we have our property down the street from us, and I love getting their input. Like we did some exterior work on that building. We painted it. I let the kids pick out the paint color.
Yeah, that's awesome.
This summer I'm gonna let them pick out all the landscaping to put around the building. So I would say getting them more involved. That's not really like a specific goal, but maybe getting them, I don't know, their foot in the water a little bit with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope our property management company has expanded too. I mean, I feel like we're kind of building a team, and we're getting to a place where we can, probably add more employees and grow that. And I feel like we have the right people now, and I feel like we could definitely add more, and it could run smoothly. Of course, we're working on systems and processes on that, so I feel like once we kind of hammer all of that out, I'll feel comfortable with that. I see MAK Construction growing. I see us like in a new office. Also in probably more markets than just Grand Forks.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, I've never asked her this question ever, so this is all news to me.
I mean, we talk about 5-year goals for MAK Construction in our EOS, but
well, those are all great. I mean, like I said, I've never even heard some of those, so it's interesting to see where your vision as an operator and going south. And I think one that you haven't talked about that I want to just end on here is, and I know it makes you uncomfortable, but I want to talk about...
You have to ask me all the uncomfortable questions.
I have to ask the uncomfortable questions. That's why I do this. That's what I love doing. So, what is the Blonde Tribe?
Oh my God. It's not even like a thing yet, so...
Tell us, that's probably in the 5-year vision, though.
Yeah.
You didn't talk about it.
Well,
and I know that one probably makes you the most excited. I know you love property management to death, but...
Because I'm still teetering back and forth on actually doing it versus not doing it.
Tell us what the vision is quickly and why you're doing it.
So the vision would be kind of like, and I know this is like blogging and all that stuff, and it's like people have been blogging for how many years, but that would kind of be a platform of it, but it's more like sharing, and not just myself, but like with my Blonde Tribe, like my kids, getting them involved and doing like tutorials and us, going on trips and just adding value or giving people value for things that we do, because we're always asked a lot of questions.
Absolutely, all the time.
And so just having kind of that space to just like showcase our lives, kind of. But it's a thing that I'm teetering on, because it's like, I know I have to go all in on it once I do. Like it's going to be a constant. You got to
get a team built out.
Right.
Yeah.
So the Blonde Tribe would just consist of me and my kids, probably you a little bit here and there, but more so sharing our lives, recipes, hair tutorials, decorating. My kids love to decorate too. They get that from me. So
okay.
So I mean, we're like changing the rooms.
We're back to square one. Decorating.
So
Chelsea's phenomenal at this. She's got her own nailers and all the own stuff. I don't help her with all this stuff.
I've always been like a DIY person. Like if I want to redo a room, I'll do it. Right now, the issue has been just finding the time to do it with kids and work. And, I used to just do things at night or on the weekends. Well, I don't really have that anymore. So, I mean, that would be, I think it would be fun. And I would get our kids involved, helping and like showcasing what they love to do too, and getting them curious about other things. So, maybe we'll see. We'll see if that takes off. Yeah,
you got an eye for interior decorating. I think that's why a lot of people follow you. I think they follow you for your kids and how you view life. I think you live in the present, which a lot of people like myself struggle with, more or less. But like I think it'd be a cool vlog where it can help a lot of people, provide value as business entrepreneurs, where I'm very much a visionary, very much an operator type service person. So we're just trying to provide value and help others and hopefully inspire other people. I think the Blonde Tribe is super awesome. I don't think you should deviate from that plan, but I was hoping you would bring that up in the 5. I did learn that you wanted property management, so I guess maybe that's more inspiring for you.
Yeah.
But okay, well, this is Chelsie Kuhn. This is my wife. You should follow her. And where would we follow you if we were to follow the Blonde Tribe? Where would you come out first as a premier? Where can they find you? We'll link it below.
We will have an Instagram page.
Ooh, okay. Instagram.
We will have a website.
Boom. That sounds old age. Okay, get us in. Give us.
You know how I work though. Like everything has to be very organized and perfect.
Lots of planning and not as much action.
Yeah, I need to take my own advice and just go for it.
She said it. YouTube or?
Yeah, there'll be YouTube, Pinterest.
Okay. Oh, that is a good one.
Yeah.
Jen and I were talking about that. We love where Pinterest is going.
Which I'm pretty sure I've been telling you guys about Pinterest for like 5 years, but
we don't always listen.
You don't listen.
Chelsea.
I know you guys don't listen all the time.
Yeah, we're terrible.
So those will probably be the 4 main, and then we'll just see.
Okay, and so like Chelsea below, we will try to tag the Blonde Tribe page below. So follow, subscribe to this channel. We're going to provide more value on everything on Follow the Herd, right? Like we talked about the path of just kind of building your own path. We didn't go with a planned course. We took a step outside of the comfort zone, even though Chelsea doesn't love that. That's her view. But once you veer off, you guys can create your own paths. There's many ways out there to do it. You have to spend a lot of time in action, coming from Chelsea. And hopefully we will see the Blonde Tribe very soon. Guys, please like and subscribe. Share this with somebody. I will see you in episode 4.